What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Coop's House. I'm back in the shop today working on the Chevelle, and everything is exactly where we left it in the last episode because we just finished filming that yesterday. Hunter had to go back to work this morning, so I decided I was going to get out here today and get a jump start on this week's episode so we're not scrambling and rushing trying to get everything finished up before we run out of time. So I have a lot to do. We still have to build the back panel for the car. We still have to put the dash in. Gauges have to be installed and wired. We still have to design and build door panels. We still have to build aluminum quarter panel covers. So we still got a lot of metal work to do. So that being said, I had to get out here and get started today because next week we only have like one day to work on it. So I needed to take advantage of the time that we had extra this week. So that being said, I need to get after it. So let's get to work. So some of you may remember that back several episodes ago, I don't even really know how long ago it was, we went ahead and we actually built our dash and fitted it in the car. So we just kind of left it at that. Well, we finally have all of our gauges. Check that out. Those are super nice, right? Super cheap too. So we actually have all of those in. We have our fuel pressure gauge, our temperature gauge, our oil pressure gauge, voltage gauge, and the tachometer. So everything is here. So the very first thing I'm gonna do, which is gonna be the most time consuming, which is why I started today, is gonna be actually installing all these gauges. So that's the very first thing that we're gonna do today. We're gonna go ahead and measure, figure out where we want these things, and then we're gonna go ahead and sand this thing down. We're gonna shoot it with the bed liner, and then we're gonna get the dash in the car and do some wiring. So let's go. Let me just say that fitting these big aluminum panels that are big and awkward and have to fit around a bunch of stuff was much easier having two people here. Hunter, come back. Miss you. All right, so we got the holes cut for our gauges, and the gauges are actually sit in the dash now. Also, don't judge me too hard for the one that doesn't match. They didn't have the matching one to these in stock. That's what I wanted, but that's not what they had. So was able to get this one when, you know, more of the other ones come in stock, or we decide we like the black face better, we'll get the matching set. So anyway, it doesn't matter. So now that that's done, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing sanded down, get it sprayed with the bed liner. That way we can get it put in the car. Once we get it in the car, we'll get it bolted down, and then we're gonna start running wires and everything for these gauges to get those hooked up so they'll actually be functional. We'll be done with that much. So we're gonna get to work on that so we can get it knocked out. So I got the dash painted, but I want to show you guys this real quick. I've never seen some crap like this before. Okay, see this? This is a can of Rust-Oleum truck bed coating. I like this stuff. Don't bother with the other stuff from Harbor Freight if you go there. That stuff's junk. This is what you need. So anyway, just look at this weirdness. So never had this before. See this can of paint? That's right side up. It won't spray anything but air. Turn it upside down. Sprayed fine. Back up. Nothing. I don't understand. Welcome to Coop's house, where everything weird happens. All right, so now that the dash is painted, we're gonna wait for that to dry. So I'm gonna come back in here and I'm gonna take the gauges out of the boxes and figure out how exactly all this stuff wires and hooks up. because I've never wired any of these before. So I'm about to look at the directions. We're going to go ahead and run what wires we can run, and that way we don't have to climb underneath the dash, because it's very uncomfortable laying on the floor of that car. In case you guys haven't seen it and noticed it, it's terrible. So we're going to run what wiring we can run, get everything hooked up that we can get hooked up, so that way when we put the dash in, hopefully we can just pull the wire through, plug it into the gauge, be done. This is Coop's house. It doesn't happen here. Anyway, let's go. All right, so I started looking at the instructions on these, and they're actually going to be pretty simple to hook up. It's literally going to be 3 connections. So it's actually going to be easier for me just to go ahead and put the dash in, get the gauges set in there, and then run the wiring like I need to run it for that. So that way I can kind of figure out wire length and all that crap. So we're just going to do it that way. So we're going to go ahead and put the dash in the car, get it bolted in, drill some holes for some rivets, get the rivets put in, and then we can start wiring some gauges. All right, so we've been at it for a little while, but we finally got all the gauges wired in. Gauges are working. Everything works like it should. They look great, except we're gonna change a little bit here. We wanna be able to put a little bit of angle on these so you can see them better from the driver's seat, but they're at least in and they work. So that is a heck of a lot of progress just in that itself. So now that that's done, we're gonna go ahead and finish up building our rear panels so that we can work on the door panels. And once we're done with that, we'll put the front clip back on this thing and a couple other little parts. We'll be ready to get a weight. So we're gonna get to work on the rear panels right now. so I'm back out in the shop today. I know we didn't say much about it yesterday, but we actually went ahead, we built the door panels, we actually built the side panels to go underneath the wheel tubs. Really the only thing we have left to build is the actual quarter panel pieces and that rear panel that we talked about between the trunk and the actual inside of the car. That's not going to take me very long. I'm going to go ahead and cut out the passenger door so that that's gutted like the driver's side is, you know, because weight reduction. So I'm going to go ahead and do that today, and then we'll get that cleaned up. That way we can go ahead and put the door panel on, get that screwed in place, go ahead and build those quarter panel pieces and the rear panel, and then we're going to be done for the week. I thought we'd be able to weigh the thing this week, but it's taking a little longer than we thought. It's actually late in the afternoon today, so everything is actually closed. So I'm gonna get these built, get those put in, so that at the beginning of next week, we can go ahead, go get a weight on this thing and move on. So go ahead and get these built. Okay, so obviously all these edges will be cleaned up, but I'm gonna show you guys right here. So this is the crash bar inside the door. Odin says hi, but now he's leaving. So this is the crash bar inside the door. The other side, it's already been removed because that's the door that was actually on the car when I got it. This is not. So we're gonna have to remove this. These are probably 15 to 20 pounds a piece, so that actually matters. So we're gonna come right here. There's spot welds in here that you can actually somewhat see. I'm gonna try to clean it up a little bit so I can see them a little better, but we're gonna drill those out, and we're gonna try to get away with not doing it on the inside. But if we have to, it is what it is. We'll pop the door off and we'll drill those out. But we're gonna cut this out, and then we're gonna clean up these edges, and then we're gonna actually go ahead and put the door panel back on. We'll be good to go. So let's get after it. Okay, so we got the door bar out, but let me just give you a little piece of advice. If you're thinking about doing it, don't. Simple solution, just don't, okay? Anyway, it's out, but you see right here, we had to drill a bunch of spot welds. I had to do the same thing on the inside portion of the door. And we had one little mishap. Let me just show you right here. See that? Isn't that pretty? Yeah. So we were drilling out the spot welds. Drill bit caught, pulled itself in, and it hurt the outside of the door. Luckily, we still have to guide coat and block the car and do final body work, so that'll be a quick, easy fix. Not really that big of a deal, so we'll fix that. Sucks that we have to, but we will. So that's done. Anyway, so we can put the door panel back on. I am going to clean up these edges with the grinder. We can put the door panel on, get it screwed in place, so that way it's in. We can account for the weight. And then we just have the quarter panel pieces to build and that back panel to build, and we're done with interior panels, finally, because this has been like a never-ending process. It seems like it just took forever. So anyway, we're gonna put this door panel on, get it screwed in place, and then we're gonna start planning for the quarter panels. Okay, so door panels are on, and they're mounted temporarily. There will be a little bit of cleanup, and we're obviously going to rivet them in place, things like that, but they're going to be coming back off to be painted. And we're going to end up painting the inside of the door jambs as well, but all of that is going to come after it's been weighed, because we do still have to build our interior door handles. So we're not going to paint anything on the door panels, because we are going to have to cut a slot in those for the door handle. So we're just going to kind of hold off on that for now. But anyway, I have to run into town, so I'm not gonna mess with anything else till I get back. So that may be tonight, or we might be late uploading because this took a little bit. So anyway, you guys have been updated, so I guess we'll see you when we get back. shop, and we didn't really film it, but we did go ahead and make the rear panel, and we made the quarter panels, sort of. We made one of them that we like, the other one we don't, but it's basically the same size, so we're just gonna go with it for now until we get back and make the other one. But the car is loaded. We're headed into town. We're gonna go unload this thing at the recycle center on their scale and find out what it weighs so we can order the gears for the rear end. So, I'm gonna put this thing on the scales. If you guys wanna start making a guess on what it weighs, start putting those in the comments. And yeah, whoever gets the closest, maybe you'll get a prize. All right, guys, so we've reached the end of another episode of Coop's House. Big week. So, finally got the car put together. Interior is finished. Door panels are built. We finished up all the aluminum interior. So we were finally able to take this thing and get it weighed. That's kind of been holding us up on ordering the parts to build the rear center section, which has in turn kept us from actually getting this thing drivable. So, we made a lot of progress this week. We took the car, weighed it, and as the car sits right now, it's 2,500 pounds. So we're adding a little bit of weight to account for gears, drive shaft, driver. So we're estimating that completely finished, this thing's gonna weigh around 2,800 pounds. We are ordering a set of 514 gears for the 9-inch. So with the calculator we use, that should put the car running in the 630s. Based on a 550 horsepower motor, we don't know if this is more or less. So something like that. But anyway, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, turn on the notifications so you know when we post, and talk to us in the comments. You guys have been doing a really good job of that. Our channel has grown tremendously over the last couple of weeks. We actually broke 100 subscribers. We're actually at 106 as of this minute. So we appreciate you guys. Make sure that y'all tune in next week, because next week we are actually going to start paint prep. We are extremely excited. The thing looks great as it is, but cannot wait to see it in color. It's going to look so good, so good. So make sure that you guys tune in next week. You're not going to want to miss it. Deuces.